Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru, hello.
And folks, as we count on these final days over here to the end of 2020, thank God, we're going to take a little bit of a spin over here onto Division 1 of the SD2 League. Rang, who do we have over here in the blue?
On left-hand side, in the blue, we have Karma playing 5th Panzer with a balanced income. And on the right-hand side, in the red, we have Grey Fox playing 3rd Guard Mechanized with a Vanguard income.
I should have probably mentioned, by the way, we are on the map, and I've been shying away from this because I'm definitely going to mispronounce this. I'm going to call it Siedlce. I know it's definitely wrong, but someone please feel free to correct me in the comments there. But we have one guy doing a barrel roll, and the other guy's going to come back and, give it to you good if you beat him. So what should we expect out of this matchup here?
Yeah, we got two pretty solid tank divisions really going up against each other. Yes, the Russian is technically... it's not nice. But yeah, 3rd Guard tank, German IS-2 combo, pretty standard. No artillery from his deck, which is very interesting. Just going really hard out in a direct fire. And then Karma's a standard 5th Panzer. He's got an early Tiger, but we also got an early IS-2 from Grey Fox. And I put my money on the IS-2 in that engagement.
It's kind of hard to not have your money in the IS-2 in that engagement. That really should be an open and shut kind of matchup.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just going to be, Tiger tries to pop Sherman, just Sherman to try to get close and do a lot of damage with the 2-star veterancy, and that's going to be happening up north where we see, as we have 3 of the Shermans barreling their way through with a bit of recon and guard infantry.
Yeah, that's a whole mess of them there, and they're throwing in a 76-2 Zis-3 up there as well, just to kind of keep things a little bit more interesting and competitive. Now, this Pack 36, he's going to be this brave soul, but he's not going to get a shot off, I don't think. Nope, he does not.
Yep.
And, of course, AirSat's opening over here from Karma and a couple of Pioneers, but he's just desperate to just hold a line for the time being.
Yeah, pretty standard player for 5th, as you don't have a whole lot of infantry to work with. So you just need to, throw in those AirSats.
I think it's interesting. He only has a single Panzer Shrek to the north. So you bring in tanks, P4, another Pack 36. This Martyr 3 might be the thing to turn the tide here. Of course, that requires him to have some ablative armor, i.e. other tanks.
Yeah.
And tank of this on Nikki with the Machiki kind of coming up. He's anticipating a breakthrough up here, Grey Fox. Definitely hoping for it, but the first Sherman is up and down.
Good use of the Panzer Shrek.
No, it's just this one. Okay.
Yeah, it's just one Sherman so far. And we got the Pack 36 and the Panzer 4 and the Marder 3 coming in. Now, Pack 36 might actually be pretty useful because at a closer range it can use that rocket shell that it has, which will just annihilate any tank.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the big thing here, though, is that the BA-10, if that gets eyes on, that Pack 36 is dead.
Yeah.
And that's really the biggest issue, is that Pack 36 wins by being hidden. Another Sherman going down, and the 3rd Sherman. Wait, all 3 Shermans are down, and I think
Holy moly!
And the Shrek got 2 of them, so he's paid himself off immediately. So Rosengard, you will go to the garden in the sky pretty soon, I'm sure, with all the other Rosens. But well done,
Yeah,
paid for yourself quite consistent.
Yeah, it was a good way to shut down an entire push. Like, he got him right in that little quadrant and blew him to smithereens. But Grey Fox is still pushing, He still has control of the forest. Yes, that's true, but not being able to do too much here. And the Panzer are actually going down to the Zis guns, so, Grey Fox is not out of the fight yet up north.
No, he's not, but that Zis-3 is. So, quite successful right there. And actually, we're going to see some recon tracks coming on in. I can understand the decision, but to me, that just feels like that's just screaming to be shot in 2 seconds.
Yes. But yeah, I think he just needs to get any sort of recon up north because he probably does not have much eyes on. And the lovely thing about the recent patch is recon's actually goddamn useful. So we're actually seeing people use it now, which is very nice.
It is worth mentioning as well, the IS-2 Combroti has been called in the north-central side of things, but it looks like he's transitioning. No, he's just kind of chilling in that north-central. I thought he was going to maybe slide into the center and maybe move across the marshes. But, there are things in the water.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a very weird map because the whole middle area of the lower elevation is very hard to maneuver through. You got all the water blocking paths and there's not real much cover, so you're really just fighting around the flanks, trying to control the high ground.
Unless, of course, you have things that are amphibious.
Oh yeah, you could actually... It'd be one of the very few instances where having an amphibious vehicle would be useful.
Kind of weird
seriously.
to be like, yeah, it's actually kind of weird. That actually would be a good idea to actually have something in the game for a good reason.
Yeah.
But the infantry fight continues up top. Karma is down 13-11 here, and with the addition of more and more and more Shermans and the other IS-2, well, it is necessitating Karma to bring in that Tiger. You can see it being brought in right about now, as well as another... Is it Pack 40 that I see being brought in?
Mm-hmm, Pack
Yes.
40. Well, it'd also probably help up north with the mortar half-track, try and just rout out the infantry in the forest, and also just, shelling the tanks. You can never go wrong with mortar half-tracks, as I say every cast, until
That's
people
true.
start using them more often.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. You just gotta, call it out until people realize that you know what you're talking about. So... Now, PTRD, of course, going to be engaged in this 250 Mark 9. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't seem to be in range for it, and he's going to just get shredded.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately think those 259s are asking to be pounded on, but they may not be worth their weight just yet, but they're still quite good.
Yeah. I think he's been pretty defensive of him for the most part, which is good, as you don't really want to be losing them because he needs your eyes on, and of course Russians have a lot of AT rifles, but he is the one going through the forest is actually doing some pretty good damage here for now.
Yeah, that's assuming, of course, that the guard squad doesn't get a kill.
Yeah. Oh no, the autocannon does get shot off, and I think that's going to be a dead guard squad, so pretty good here. I want to see if he could flank the Shermans. Probably won't kill it, but it would be interesting.
He's not going to need to. Those Shermans are not going to kill that Tiger.
Yeah, and the Pack 40 helping out too is definitely worthwhile.
But it's 15-9. Grey Fox is taking all the territory that matters. We haven't been paying attention, excuse me, to that South Central side here. And as much as I want to see the Shermans live or die under their current circumstances, we might need to shift over there, because that's where a lot of this territory has come out.
Mm-hmm. At central position, I think you just man up a few easy flags with just some guard squads, and just having that IS-2 in that position.
Prowling, really.
In the central, yeah. He's gonna be a real tough nut to crack, because does he get Panther? He does get Panther. He does have an A-phase Panther and some more on B and C phase, of course, but it's still a risky proposition using Panthers against IS-2s. You really want a Pack 43, which you don't have.
Well, there's the Panther.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I'd like to see him use the Martyr 3 again. Martyr 3, not a great thing in a stand-up fight, but you had to pay attention to that medium stealth. That really could work for him.
Yeah,
rather successfully.
It has better optics compared to a regular tank because it is open top, which is quite nice. I'm looking forward to see how those late rate tank destroyers will work after the tank ranges change.
Fixed.
Yeah.
Let's call it. Let's call a spade a spade. Come on,
Yeah, 45mm gun shooting 2 kilometers is frankly a bit silly.
Ooh, and the Tiger goes down to one shot from the IS-2.
Yeah.
The second Tiger
does not mess about.
Oh no, he does hit 2 Tigers in there. I don't know why. Yeah. It's always weird for me. I think a Tiger in A is always going to be, keep his brothers away. But no, we are going to see a second Tiger. I didn't even pay attention to that guy right there.
Yeah, and he might want to move that Tiger back because the IS-2 is moving up here, and Grey Fox does have good momentum. With that IS-2, that should give him the cover he needs to try and push into the opposing forest, at least, if he decides to do that.
And there
seems like
he's
he's a bit more focused down south.
And there are because you don't want to engage and move a tank up within 500 meters, let alone 2, when your opponent has squads like Razvedka's.
He has no recon or infantry backing up that Tiger. That's definitely a very silly maneuver.
It certainly is. We are going to see a very brief strafe happening over on the southern side of things, as the Air Truppen are desperate to make themselves relevant down to the south. Indeed, as well, we're actually going to see a P4 engage Razvedka's and guard squads. Luckily for that P4, could not be hit by the bazooka. But let's go back to your slowly devolving drama here in the north. The Tiger E, well, it just, yeah. It's easy to get some kills, though, when your opponent kind of gifts a couple infantry squads here and there for you.
Yeah, I think, okay, in hindsight, I think he moved to Tiger yeah, to have, like, a second line of fire and keep it a little bit hidden. It's still a bit dangerous because an anti-tank gun could just pop out in the forest and make that Tiger no more.
Better than that. 76-2 is coming out. It's going to be a side shot. This is going to be painful. Because a side shot, I mean, again, Tiger armor on the side is not going to be the 125 value that we're worried about here. It's going to be 85. No, 90 over there.
Oh, 85, yeah.
So that could very much be a kill. And oh my gosh, you can't even see that the Razvedka's moving in on him either. Will they get in range? They're almost in range right now.
There we go. I think, yeah, Sad's trooping nearby helped to spot.
Oh, don't you worry. He'll still find a way to die. P4 goes down. And the Bousier 76 Mark II.
He shoots. Come on, he shoots. Here we go. Now.
I got the Focke-Wulf gets brought from the southern side of the map. Oh my god, dear god, we must bring in something else to shoot these guys with bazookas.
Yeah.
And
the northern side is starting to look a bit sparser from Karma.
Yes, yes. That's exactly what I was going to say. While this Tiger is going to face this Bousier, now the IS-2 is going to come in and probably just smack him around a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all stressed out now. The Tiger's pretty worthless.
But the IS-2 is not going to get a second shot off. Wow.
Whoa!
Wow.
That is... Wow. I think he was a little bit too aggressive and showed off his side armor against... I don't know if that would technically count as a side shot. It's pretty hard to tell.
I will tell you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but you know that Panther in the center?
Yeah.
He is no mas. 3 guard squads rushed him and then grenaded him to death.
That's not how you want to lose a Panther.
True. True. But forgive me, you were saying about it wasn't a side shot? Yes, very, very true.
Yes, it's really not looking good for Karma early on, which does make sense. He is playing a balanced income. Now we're into B phase where the income is actually dead even. So hopefully for Karma here he can start, you know, regaining a bit of momentum. But the guards spam is coming in. There's still a lot of Shermans and IS-2s he has to worry about. Well, there's still one IS-2 to worry about in the center. But yes, there's lots of guards just looking at reinforcements here from Grey Fox. He's just bringing infantry all over the bloody map.
Now, but his only chance here was like squads like this P4 is engaging as more and more squads are being brought in. So if he's lucky, yeah, he picks off a squad here, picks off a squad there. It limits the weight that he's going to have to come under. So it's a second squad. Robrecht over here. Maybe get a third. So there were 3 of those 4 trucks actually all died. So
damn.
That's the kind of trades he's got to be making. If he loses a P4 because of that, that's almost acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. And the guards who puts on a Panther, it's still in a pretty good position. Just taking a lot of fire against Siedlce trooping, but I think got some Panzer coming in. Yeah.
Well,
Siedlce trooping.
Big freaking deal. Like, I'll get shot at by your Siedlce trooping. Don't even give me a gun. Just give me a water pistol. I'll still put him to rout.
Just throw some stones.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Aye, indeed. It is. Yeah, we've got southern side here. Karma is pushing on this very exposed flank. It's only a single MG42 team and a single Sherman and a guard squad just rushing up in an armored vehicle. Should be enough.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's and he's bringing in a recon vehicle over here, but that's not going to be a whole lot.
Yeah. That's going to be another easy flag.
That P4, right where let's say the extension of the German lines are going into the Russians.
Yep.
He's been the anchor. He's going to go down soon. I mean, there is a Razvedka right there, but he's kept things rather interesting. Oh, don't move. Stay in the trees. No. The trees is life. Don't move. It's
crazy to see a Panzer IV be so efficient.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's like begging the question: who did you bribe to live this long?
Mm-hmm. Must have made some deal with the devil.
Also worth mentioning that peak run counter push. It's working, but at what cost? If anything, it feels like this half track has been far more effective.
Yeah.
And there we go. So it's going to be back to a 14-10. And I'm trying to see what would be the best place for a counter push. It could be the north. We have more and more of these Tanko Thessaloniki's and half-tracks and support, and there's nothing that can be sent there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking a little bit better now from Karma. Now it's 10-14. I mean, it's tough because this is a pretty infantry-focused map, and it also works very well for Shermans in close range, so it's a bit tough for 5th Panzer. And also the IS-2s can be a big pain at those long-range engagements, of course. I think maybe the center's really his best bet to try and get something to happen. You know, put a Panther or two along the hillside and just trying to engage at long range. Because looking at the center here, Grey Fox is starting to run a little bit out of stuff. Doesn't have too much infantry. He's really focusing pretty heavily on the flanks.
Justifiably so. Actually, I think these recon vehicles being brought on in might be enough to kind of help him limp through. Mm-hmm. The Hero P4 does go down at 45 mils, is the cause of that final disaster. But yeah, wow, there's a ton of anti-infantry fire.
Yeah. The Common's making this really good push show down south.
Yeah, we'll look to the north real quick as almost a spawn gets taken on out, and that's what, another 2 or 3 square kilometers being taken?
Yeah. It's a good push from Grey Fox there. The half tracks and the tank Thessaloniki are gonna be, especially tank Thessaloniki, are gonna be a real pain to round out of there, just regular German infantry.
Yeah, not gonna be able to do it too easily. PP shots, man. PP shots.
Yeah. But down south, like, he might be able to grab another flag or two. The far southern post has got completely surrounded. We do have some Sherman reinforcements being brought in. This may be enough to halt any extra advance, because there's not a whole lot of anti-tank here down south from Karma. There's one Panzer IV nearby.
Well, that half-track was quite brave, and now he's quite dead.
Mm-hmm. That's what you get for being brave, guys. If you ever in a war, be a coward.
Exactly. That's why snipers are such effective troops. And I don't say that with any kind of denigration. Honestly, hand to God, I've always like, you know what? I'm not going to fight. Why would I be up close for a knife fight if I can shoot you from a kilometer away?
The guys invented scopes for a reason, you know?
Exactly. You reach out and touch somebody from a mile away. Why would you want to touch them from 50 feet?
Mm-hmm. Or even better, just be an artilleryman. You'd be deaf by the end of it, but you probably have a good chance of surviving just as long as you don't get counter-batteried.
I don't know, man. I've read my Tom Clancy. I know those guys get nuked pretty quick. Oh, yeah. Man.
Just from a canoe kit.
Well, I'm just this scene from just The Bear and the Dragon comes to mind. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to put our MLRSs at this artillery park and a TOT barrage, and suddenly everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Panther. I'm sorry, I got kind of distracted by the fact that we have Panther G in the north, and Otomachiki and Tanko Thessaloniki are rushing across open fields, and that's a target that even Air/Troopen can't, whiff on.
Mm-hmm. Panzer IV and Shermans are going at it.
Ooh.
Yeah. But Panther comes in for round 2.
Panzer on approach. Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
And 3 more squads? Yeah, so we got Peak Rent and a little bit of Air/Troopen left over from the first phase. I always never... Oh yeah, that one. Oh jeez. I always forget how comparatively lightly armored the Panther G is against things like the ZIS-3. I kind of forget about that.
Yeah. It only has like 5 more armor compared to the Tiger tank and the worst side armor.
Yeah, just it's strange to me. And here we go. The Focke-Wulf, the hero Focke-Wulf. I was reading a scholarship recently that kind of suggests the Focke-Wulf was better than BF-109.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, and I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, the BF-109 was like a 1930s aeroplane.
Mm-hmm.
But the Focke-Wulf was a bit more modern and faster and had more guns and...
It was just a more multiple role plane. It's just it's really weird to me because again, it's one of those things like the Tiger tank. Oh my god! So like, but when it comes right down to it, I'll even admit it. The Tiger tank is really not that impressive. Well, meanwhile, down to the south, these Peak-Ren and the Hero half-track go down together. They're joining each other in death. But armored as they were in the Armor of Contempt, they were brave before the Emperor.
Yeah. I'm pretty amazed how this has been pretty back and forth. Yes, Karma has been losing this entire time, but he like strikes back pretty hard in certain areas, and then he gets pushed back pretty hard. And looking at Grey Fox's line, he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on the map anymore. He does have his lovely Shermans, but they are starting to get picked off one by one now. And with that Vanguard income going into C phase, I think it's gonna get a little bit tricky-dicky for Mr. Grey Fox.
Well, and that was what I was going to call in, too, is that, again, if you guys recall, back at the deck early on when we were just kind of announcing the two players, he's got one card in C-Phase.
Yep, it's a Sherman.
No, sorry, two cards. And he's got a card squad.
You gotta have the C-Phase guard spam. It's mandatory.
But, I mean, well, if you look at the other side, 27 Grens, and yeah, they're more expensive, but... at this point, like, if all my tanks are dead, what does it matter?
Yeah. And also just a good use of air power here from Karma. Like, we've seen those Focke-Wulfs have just been coming in constantly and doing quite a bit of damage, even just the fighters strafing those AT guns. But we are back, well, now finally at Trove here for Karma, so... you might be able to just edge something out. I mean, looking up north, there's really not much here from Grey Fox.
One thing I'm a little bit despondent about is that we've not really seen artillery getting utilized.
Yeah. One side doesn't even have artillery.
Yeah, that was such a curious decision. And I kind of get it. I mean, you want to have that entire kind of third Tankovy be fast and aggressive, and it doesn't really have a whole lot of time for these kind of setup creeping barrages. But the amount of smoke that we've seen that gets utilized in early parts of these games, P4 and MCHA trade out in the bottom, you cannot overstate the importance that you see from them. It's 100% important. You can't just kind of lollygag it through a map.
No, I 100% agree. Like, mortars in general are definitely a little bit underrated. Not just because they can blow stuff up, but
the utility
if you know how to use smoke efficiently,
yes,
it can completely change engagements. Like, it's so many applications for using smoke shells, and whether you have the advantage or the disadvantage. When I cast a war game, the one thing I noticed in war game, even though it's a little bit of a different game, is that when people have like super heavy tanks out, like the super expensive runs, they will drop smoke behind their super heavy tank, like a King Tiger. An analogy like a King Tiger. The reason they do that is that if it gets shot at, they just reverse it a little bit and it's in cover. And you can just do it anywhere.
I admit I never played Wargame, Red Dragon, or Escalation, or any of them, really. Is there any kind of smoke launchers on the actual heavier tanks themselves?
No, there's no smoke on like vehicles. That's one thing I don't add. Because that'd be... I think I didn't do it for balance reasons.
I was gonna say, it's kind of broken, but it's still interesting nonetheless.
You just like... you would never be able to blow anything up. Because smoke's so bloody efficient. Then they'd also probably have to implement some sort of thermal thing to see through smoke, and yeah, there'd be a lot of effort. But yeah, just the use of... I think that sort of strategy would work very well in ST2, where you have these IS-2s and King Tigers or Panthers being... You know, just drop a little bit, keep it in an open field, drop a little bit of smoke behind it, and just do that every now and again, and if you get shot up by a big scary AT gun, you reverse 5 meters and you're safe.
Forgive me, I'm continuing to watch as this IS-2 to the north is sitting in the saddle between these...
Oh yeah.
Which, I mean,
two eyes.
Absolutely brilliant spot, don't get me wrong. But to quote my grandmother, rest her soul, kind of like tits on a bowl against the overall battle space.
Yeah, he's got those two IS-2s in a very claustrophobic position now. I mean, I don't think he's really in a threat of being Panzer-Fausted or Panzer-Schrecked anytime, but you can't really do too much of them either.
Well, and here's the major issue, too. If they get pressured, yeah, this is ESU to the north. Yeah, the Focke-Wulf's gonna get chased away, but big stinking deal. I would still be more than willing to trade an air-slash trooper or two, maybe even a Focke-Wulf, to stress that guy out so I can come in and shaft him. So.
Yeah.
But regardless, too, we are seeing, I wouldn't be surprised, Grey Fox, his front lines are looking awfully weak.
Yeah, I think he just ran out of stuff in terms of attrition here in Karma. He has the Panther factories on full tilt, getting them left, right, and center. And when all your medium tanks are really Panthers and you only have real Shermans, it gets a little bit one-sided.
It certainly does, but I know the biggest thing here is that if the IS-2s go down, that's when Mother Russia falls. If the IS-2s are strong, well, then communism is strong.
Yes, that's...
Probably not unexpected considering the fact that Joseph Stalin's, but in any case. So I'm watching as this ZSU is also probably going to start to engage its half-track. That's right, go ahead. Waste your ammunition on a half-track.
I think you do a bit more damage with a 37 mil, but guess not.
Oh no, I mean, feel free to kill it, but I would rather have you kill a half-track so I can use my airplanes later on.
Yeah.
Especially considering how, man, that accuracy on that thing is awful. 14%, okay, jeez. Man, if this was XCOM, he'd be missing every single shot. P4 and Panther are engaging one of those IS-2s. Shooter's knocked out. And he's quite stressed as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stress level is definitely not helping out in those engagements at all.
Alright, though. Wait a second. How's the other IS-2 getting hit? I'm not sure. Interesting. Oh, maybe Panther Chief from across the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just some long-range shots, yeah, but not doing too much, and that was a tap out from Grey Fox and a GG for Karma.
You know, Grey Fox, I definitely understand why he tapped out. I was just a little surprised, I think, that it was kind of like this whimper at the end of it. Early on, he was controlling the pace of the game. He was smashing through the front lines. I just think that he overextended himself in those first 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, he did do a fantastic job early on, like you said, but he just lost a little bit in that attrition. He was doing well, but Karma, you know, he played that pretty good, pretty standard for German, you know, standard Panzer Division insert here. You just hold on early on with what you have, and then wait till C phase, and you just roll out all the heavy tank.
Well, just as a note, by the way, the P4, the Hero P4 Ruprecht, yeah, that guy deserves an Iron Cross and then some. Yes, a lot of his material here is, you know, PBIs. A lot of his successes over here are PBIs. But let's see, 1, 2 of the Sherman's anti-aircraft position and 5 or 6 different squads of infantry by himself. He was the anchor to the south. He's dead another 10 minutes earlier. That game's over. That's
impressive for Panzer 4, that's for sure.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and then...
Well, even Thurnings. Yes, that was the one who flanked around and picked off those couple of half-tracks early on. That's before when we got the triple Sherman up north.
Yeah, and looking at kills here... Tank Desniki did pretty decent, and it's pretty shared. I mean, those Shermans are all, you know, making sure everyone has a little bit of fun in the war.
But regardless, well done over there to Karma. I really kind of thought his time was running out. He seemed only a couple minutes away from defeat there. But stay cool, stay calm, and really was effective.
Yeah, it's that was a very good example of how to win against an A phase, B phase Rush division as a more general C phase focused division. Like, he just held on long enough to get the factories up and running.
You know, the funny thing too is he'd even bring in his recon P4s.
Oh yeah, he had those. I think he's just trying to focus on getting those Panthers out.
Yeah, understandable completely. Yeah. But well done to both actually. That was quite a thrilling match there. I know.
Yeah, it was really good.
On Thursday, we're going to be taking a look over at some Terrible Divisions tournament. So the TDT is coming back for us over here on Thursday. So you guys are definitely going to want to come back and check that out. But Rang, anything you need to talk about before we close out this cast today?
Nope.
No, folks, in that case then, come back in a couple days, see some more musings of both Rang and I. Until then, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.